following support from a small group of Democrats for a Republican spending package that excluded key healthcare provisions. The shutdown has left billions at risk of losing food benefits, cancelled thousands of flights, and furloughed hundreds of thousands of federal workers without pay. The House is now set to vote on the bill, where Democrats are expected to push back. Now, if passed, federal food assistance programs like SNAP will be fully restored, and retroactive pay will go to about 1.4 million furloughed staff. Most federal agencies will receive funding until the 30th of January 2026, though healthcare subsidies remain a key point of contention. Democrats are highlighting the deal as a temporary fix while keeping pressure on Republicans to protect medical programs. With us on the broadcast is Mr. Raymond Vickery, former U.S. Assistant Secretary of Commerce, joining us from Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for taking our time and speaking to us on NewsX World. We've seen the longest ever U.S. shutdown in history at 41 days. Senate has now passed this bill to end the shutdown. It's going to head to the House very, very soon. The vote is set to take place very shortly. Republicans do have their numbers stacked in their favor at 219. The Democrats are at 213. The magic path to the passage is slated at 218. In the midst of all of this, can we expect Democrats in the House to vote on party lines and maybe even some Republicans to break lines, or do you expect this bill will be passed?
Well, thanks very much for having me. I expect that with all that's gone on, there will be a very narrow margin for opening the government again. It's a tragic situation when you do not have the usual checks and balances provided for in the U.S. Constitution, and a minority in the Senate has to resort to some sort of extraordinary measures even to get items on the agenda. I think it's going to go through. I believe that the pressure from the Supreme Court upholding the restrictions on the SNAP, what used to be called food stamps approach affecting 40 million, and the air traffic is going to require that there will be a reopening. But it's not going to solve the problem. We're going to be back into this in January, and it's really time for the Congress to assert itself.
Indeed, what we've seen in the Senate was quite a shocker because some of the Democrats clearly broke their ranks. A lot of fingers are now being pointed towards Chuck Schumer, who is the leader of the Democrats in the Senate. A lot of criticism from Democratic voters against him. They've pointed at the fact that he's not been able to really rein in his own party members to not vote in favor of the Republicans. Does this point to some sort of internal discord that is taking place within the Democrats itself, and how is this likely to reflect on Chuck Schumer's leadership?
Well, it very much is a problem for the Democrats. There is no way forward if the Democrats split in regard to opposition to President Trump. It's going to require a united party going into the midterms next year. Chuck Schumer has been criticized. In the first time, he voted for legislation which would keep the government open. This time around, he went the other way. Democrats are particularly frustrated, but the reality is Democrats don't have the votes. And the only way to get the votes is, one, by seeing that there is a fair election process, that it's not fixed by the kind of machinations to create new Republican seats and restrictions on voting, and to win those elections. And Chuck Schumer is a lightning rod, if you will, at this point, for the frustrations which are felt by Democrats but he is by no means the heart of the problem. The heart of the problem is what happens in the elections. We had some hope given to Democrats this past Tuesday when they swept in Virginia, New Jersey, city of New York, California, and even really down ballot races in places like Georgia and Kentucky. So if the Democrats can keep their eye on the ball and not resort to infighting, there may be hope for reining in what has been an imperial kind of presidency in the United States thus far. But if they split and the elections are not decisive against President Trump, then the chaos that we have seen over the last 9 months will continue.
Indeed. And we've also seen a lot of criticism being mounted against Donald Trump as far as this particular shutdown is concerned. He's, of course, dug his heels in all this while, even as, people were losing their food benefits, 42 million in particular. There were flights that were disrupted. Hundreds of thousands of federal workers were furloughed. They were, in fact, laid off as well. This was, of course, a concern that Republican voters had with regards to the midterms that are taking place next year. Now, with the Democrats finally caving in the Senate, whose victory is this really?
Well, at this point, it's not a victory really for either side. What remains to be seen is how the electorate will sort out the behavior of Donald Trump and the Republicans coming into the midterms. I think there's every likelihood that the electorate is going to see a president who prides himself on deal making, who goes around the world saying he's solved this problem, that, but has refused to negotiate in regard to what is most important to people in the United States, and that is what happens with the economic situation, the budget, and what services are able to be provided on SNAP, on the Federal Aviation Administration. So I think that has yet to be sorted out, but polls thus far indicate that the Republicans have taken a disproportionate amount of the blame for the shutdown. So while the Democrats are upset that Chuck Schumer and Tim Kaine and others have backed off and not been fighting hard enough, there is every prospect that people are going to say, well, look, you can't run a country this way, and revolt against the kind of election result that we had in 2024.
Indeed, sir. Requesting you to stay on